Welcome to the Vantage HR Influencers Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Vantage Circle, the simple and AI-powered rewards and recognition platform for employee engagement.
Workplace counseling has many folds in today's workplace, and along with it comes workplace coaching. These sessions include specificity around mental health, stress, anxiety, work pressure, alienation, performance, productivity, etc. Counseling and coaching in the workplace are about employee engagement, experience, and wellness. So, in today's episode, let's know the importance of workplace counseling and coaching. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to the Vantage Influencers Podcast. I am your host, Gautam. Today's episode is about knowing the importance of workplace counseling and coaching and how it enhances employee engagement and work experience. To shed light on this topic, we have a very special guest, Mr. Nimish Ramesh. Nimish is a 27-year-old engineer turned MBA turned senior HR professional turned TEDx speaker, author, and millennial life coach. He helps millennials get clarity in their lives and become self-sustained driven individuals towards achieving a certain life outcome. Hello, Nimish. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Gautam, for the warm welcome, and thank you for inviting me for this podcast wherein I can contribute towards the audience and, of course, the HR fraternity. Thank you so much.
Yes, Nimish, and we are extremely grateful to have you with us today and to talk about an important topic which people usually tend to, avoid. And they think that it's maybe a less of an importance to speak about it in workplace. So, before we could begin with the, entire topic of workplace counseling and coaching, I would, love to listen something about you. Like if you could brief us about yourself, something that I might have missed mentioning about you.
Sure, Gautam. So, basically, I've had a typical journey of an individual wherein one has done their graduation. In my case, it's been engineering. And then post which you do a post-graduation. In my case, it's been an MBA, master's, right? And then right now I'm working in a job.
Okay.
But one particular incident that has changed, one particular event that has changed my life is a small journey that is my cycling journey from Mumbai to Pune.
Okay.
Right. So one random day in a setup of friends and family, I just thought of, cycling from Mumbai to Pune. Now, the very moment that I, sparked up this thought, I got severe backlash, from a lot of, friends and relatives. I'm like, why, how could you even think of it? You require so much stamina, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And then, when all of them, pounced at me that way, I just took a step back. I absorbed everything in. And then I slept over it, right? And the next day morning, then I decided that, this is something that I want to do. And it's not something that people have never done before, right? And as far as safety is concerned, it can happen to anybody at any point of time, right? So just have the precautions in place. So I gave myself time, 3 months of time, develop my body, develop my mind. And then I was set up and ventured for the journey. And then I completed the journey in like 6 hours. And however, the magic that I wanted to say is that it happened the next day, right? The very same set of family or friends, were questioning me at that point of time. They said that I'm an inspiration. They started to hit the gym. They started going for morning jogs. And I'm like, wow, if I can inspire people unknowingly, why can't I do something knowingly?
Sure.
So that's how my turning point had come in place. Wherein, I started to delve deeper into the HR field. I started delving deeper into the self-help area. That's how I authored a book. That's how I started to contribute towards the workforce in general. That's how my TEDx gig happened. So it all happened because of that one small journey. And that's where I decided that my whole life is towards the contribution towards helping employees get clarity in their lives and, contributing best towards their workplace. So that was it about short description about me.
Yeah, that's absolutely great, Nimish. I think it was quite of an adventurous, inspirational journey, if I would say, that your adventure in life pushed you towards, inspiring other people also and, trying out new things, different things. And why not? I think monotony can be so boring at times. And if people can't find a way, you're always there to give them a way, is what I believe.
Definitely, definitely.
So, now we should slightly move to the topic that we're discussing today, and that is workplace counseling and coaching. So, let's talk about workplace counseling first. So, when we talk about workplace counseling, what exactly does it mean?
Okay, in very simple terms, workplace counseling is the ability to regulate one's emotions, right? Humans
Mm-hmm.
work in a particular job role, and after all, they're humans, so emotions are bound to be there, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
ability to regulate these emotions, be it anger, sadness, stress, anxiety, excitement, it can be any emotion, right? The
Mm-hmm.
ability to regulate these emotions in the right manner to provide the maximum benefit to themselves and the workplace in terms of productivity. So that's counseling in very simple terms. Now, who can do this? It can be their managers, it
Mm-hmm.
can be a third person, it can be a trained professional,
Okay.
right? So it's about providing emotional support to employees in regulating their emotions in very simple terms.
Well, I think if we talk about workplace counseling, somebody who doesn't know, they have so many, imaginations in their head. There's so many words playing in your head. But if it is explained in such simple terms, I think, everybody would be interested in these sessions because usually people tend to think that, no, I think I should avoid it. Why do I need this? Will it be scary? I cannot speak my mind out. So, a lot of people have that thing in their head. So, on that note, how is workplace counseling beneficial for today's workforce?
Well, it's beneficial in a lot of ways, right? Now, imagine a scenario wherein all the employees of the company are really happy, excited to learn, excited to make mistakes. There's no fear of making mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have such an environment, then there is absolutely no worry about the productivity of such a company, right? So that's the major advantage of workplace counseling, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
anybody suffers, for example, an employee snaps at every small argument they have with their colleagues or their superiors or their reportees, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, of course, the employee is going through something, right? So that is a time where the manager comes into picture and acts as a sounding board for their employees, right? And try to get into the depth of it and understand why this is being born out in the first place itself, right? So it
True.
can just be a simple act of being a sounding board to your employees and giving an advice on how to deal with those particular situations because they've already been in those particular situations. So if counseling is done in the right way, if we talk
Mm-hmm.
about the advantages, point number one, it can give employees a strong sense of self-worth. It can give an employee a strong sense of self-understanding. Their self-acceptance, their self-esteem will increase.
Yeah.
And what will happen when all of this improves in a particular employee? Their work quality improves. And what
Yes.
happens if their work quality improves? Ultimately, if we cascade it to the top, the organization's productivity increases. So,
Yes.
and what happens when an employee performs really well at the job? It starts reflecting in their personal lives as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I am somebody who does not differentiate between personal and work lives because they are interlinked in a lot of ways. I will
Okay.
not get there for now, but if we an individual plans their whole day in such a way that they are both work and personal lives are catered to, right? So if
Yes.
somebody is performing in a particular area of their life, it is bound to get distributed in other areas of their lives, right? So these are the two advantages. Now, what's the third advantage? The third advantage is that if the culture of a company is good, right? Now, if you
Mm-hmm.
have good counseling in place, it will have an
Yes.
impact on the culture of it. Now, in today's world of social media, right, the word gets out. Now, what happens when the word gets out? People start to know about the company, right?
Mm-hmm.
The employer branding improves. What happens when the employer branding improves? We get good applications for the job roles that are vacant in the company,
Yes.
right? So the TA team has a better pool of candidates to
Yes.
select from. So a simple, being an active listener to your reportees will have a great advantage in the overall productivity of the organization. So that's the ultimate aim, of course. And those are the benefits that I can think of right now as far as counseling is concerned.
I think that was an amazing response considering, Vantage Circle. We are mostly targeted towards employee engagement, experience, enhancing and nurturing the culture of a company through rewards and recognition and other benefits or so. So I think, workplace counseling is one area that can act as a good medium for employees to enhance their engagement levels as well as productivity. And I think you made a very good point here that self-worth and self-esteem is something that is very important for an employee to perform well and do good and finally add to the company's success. And thank you so much, Nimish. And now we should slowly move ahead to the topic of workplace coaching. So, what is workplace coaching according to you?
Okay, so coaching is something that is of deep interest to me personally. And coaching basically is, helping an individual, majorly it's your reportee, achieve a particular goal, right? And how do you help them? By invoking a certain thought process in them, by asking the right questions. When you ask an individual the right questions, they tend to think more. They tend to think differently. And when you tend to think differently, a lot of other opportunities arise in front of you, which the individual was not even aware of before. It helps them be more creative, right? So basically, coaching improves the way an employee thinks and behaves, and in turn, they act on it, and then as a result, they get results, and as a result, they go on ultimately to achieve a certain objective that they are bound to. So that's coaching again in very simple terms.
Okay, got it. But in today's modern world, what is the importance of conducting workplace coaching sessions, especially at work?
Okay. So how does one manager improve the performance of their reportee, or guide the reportees in such a way so that they can be the leaders of tomorrow, right? So coaching is one tool that really helps them do that. Now how? Let me give you an example. So I'm reporting to you, Gautam, for example. You're my manager, and I'm facing a particular issue. Now you can do a couple of things here. One, you can straight away tell me what to do and I'll do it. And even if I do it, I may be successful in it, I may not be successful in it.
True.
Right? And two, you can ask me questions in such a way that will derive a thought process in me and will compel me to act in a particular way to get results. Right? So coaching is towards the second aspect. Now, I am facing a particular problem in my work area, in the job role that I'm particularly doing. And I approach you, my manager. And then you'll say, why do you think this is happening? And then I'll come up with maybe 2 or 3 statements as to why it is happening. Then the next question that you will ask me will be, what do you think should be done to address those issues? Yes. Then I will come up with 2 to 3 or 4 statements, right? And what happens is, then you will tell me what stops you from actioning these. And then I may realize 2 things at that point of time. 1, nothing stops me. 2, the reasons that stop me from doing it, right? If there are barriers, your manager will help you address those barriers. It can be anything, stakeholder management or any tool that is missing from your repertoire. It can be anything, right? Yes. So what is happening here? You are compelling me to think. I am thinking, I am coming up with an answer. I am coming up with a solution. And when I come up with a solution myself, subconsciously, I take ownership of that solution. Now, what happens if I subconsciously take ownership of that solution is that I will tend to take action on it. Now, if I take action on it, it is bound to produce results. And if it produces results, you will get a certain outcome of the job role or a certain outcome of the objective that you wanted to achieve in the first place. So that's the effectiveness of coaching in today's workplace, and it has immense benefits. Now, what does this do in the long run is it makes an employee independent. Now, once it makes an employee independent, even if you're not there for a particular day or a few weeks, right? I know what my job is. I'm independent to do that work. And that's how you create future leaders. So that's the benefit of coaching in today's work area.
Thank you so much, Nimish. I think that was a great analogy to explain how workplace coaching works. And, but yes, we discussed workplace counseling and coaching in two separate terms. But you used words like self-worth and self-esteem for workplace counseling, and now you used, the word independent for workplace coaching. So, on that note, what are the similarities and differences between workplace coaching and counseling, and what do you think which is more beneficial?
Okay, in the long run, if we look at it, nothing is more beneficial. They both are very
Uh-huh.
different, and
Yes.
they are basically tools to improve an employee's performance at a particular job role and ultimately indirectly towards the company's objectives and performances. So, if we talk about the differences, coaching involves more about thinking, making the
Mm-hmm.
employees think for a particular solution to achieve a certain objective.
Yeah.
Counseling is about regulating the emotions that we have. And the other similarity that could be found is coaching basically, a difference, I mean, not similarity. Coaching
Mm-hmm.
basically improves the capability of an employee in terms of the skill sets that are required to improve on a particular job role, to perform better in a job role. Counseling improves the self worth, self acceptance, self esteem of a particular employee in a job role, which is actually a hygiene factor required for somebody to perform well in their particular jobs. So those are the basic differences between coaching and counseling. And of course, like I said before as well, very different tools, but both are very effective in the long run. Another difference that I can gather is coaching is, a little short term, wherein once the employee achieves a certain outcome, the coaching is session is over, it's done over there. Whereas a counseling session it's a little more a little more towards an extended period of time. It can last to a
Mm-hmm.
lifetime as well, right? Because
Yeah.
without emotions, humans cannot function, right?
Yes.
So emotions go up and down. What we could do with the help of counseling is keep the right set of emotions for the majority of the time. So these are the major differences between coaching and counseling.
Thank you so much, Nimish. I think uh, so. What I get from you is they both are very different, but I think if I can see a similarity, I think that similarity would be they both, work towards developing a person to become a better version of themselves. And especially
Definitely.
employees, I think they can up their skills, they can up their game at work, their productivity, engagement, and everything that an employee needs, to excel in their work. Correct?
Definitely,
Well,
Gautam.
I think that I am on the right track, and I think our listeners are on the right track as well. So, we are slowly approaching towards the end of this conversation, and I know I can keep going on and on, but time will not permit us. So, my last question to you would be, how would you like to summarize your thoughts on workplace counseling and coaching?
Okay, to summarize, coaching and counseling are really important tools that can be used by managers or otherwise to improve the performances of an employee and indirectly the overall business results of an organization. Coaching focuses more towards the aspect where it involves invigorating thought processes in an individual. Counseling is more towards regulating emotions, being a sounding board for your employees. Both the managers can be a coach and a counselor. However, counselor is a niche trait wherein you would want to hire a trained professional if in case the condition persists for an individual. The main purpose of coaching is to improve the capabilities of an employee and motivate them to achieve their goals. Counseling is more towards improving the mental health and well-being than
Mm-hmm.
performance. Of course, if an employee is fit and fine, they can contribute much better. The skills that would be required for a coach is to the ability to ask the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be thick skinned because sometimes you have difficult reportees, right, who keep asking questions
Yes,
and
yes.
they expect a certain answer. And counseling more towards active listening, a genuine intent to help the employee in front of you, having more empathy. In terms of the timelines that are involved, coaching is particularly short term and counseling will be relatively long term as per the preference of the employee that we are dealing with. So yes, I hope it was a good summary that I gave right now. I try to shorten it as much as possible and make it as simple as possible for the listener.
If you were to ask me, I think that was amazing because, the entire conversation that we had, it was so crisp, it was so simple, and so easy to understand. I think I had an amazing time talking to you, Nimish, and thank you so much for making our listeners know more about workplace counseling and
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Wonderful. That's great to hear. Thanks, Gautam.
yes, and surely if our listeners would love to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you if they would want to know anything about counseling or coaching sessions?
So I'm readily available on all social media sites. You name it, I'm there. So social media is one platform that I'm readily available. You can ping me anywhere. And of course, my personal email ID also. I will just give it to the team there. They can, get in touch. But social media is a place I'm really active. And I have a website also. You all can reach out there as well. And I can let me try and help you all and contribute in any way I can. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much, Nimish, for taking this time out and lending your voice and your knowledge to me, to Vantage Circle, and to our listeners. Thank you so much for being a part of Vantage Influencers podcast today.
Thank you so much, Gautam, for inviting me and letting me contribute. Thank you.
And listeners, you just heard Nimish Ramesh talk about workplace counseling and coaching and how it is important in the workplace. To know more about workplace counseling, you can definitely get in touch with Nimish. And if you want to know about more such content, please stay tuned to Vantage Influencers podcast. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Vantage HR Influencers podcast. Please do subscribe to Vantage HR Influencers podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and our YouTube channel for new episodes.